Hello and welcome to another series or another episode of the John and Letty podcast. Today we are here on this very special session. We've been talking about how to find your spouse, and we have with us our very dear friends, which are youth pastors, Pastor Josue, Pastor Damaris Salcedo, and they are with us today, and we're going to hear a little bit about them and a lot of the issues that young people are going through, a lot of the things that you heard already in some of our previous podcasts, but we're going to get down and find out a little bit more about the issues that people are having in trying to find a spouse.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
We're excited. I'm excited.
Super thrilled, honored to be here. We love the topic and the conversation of finding your spouse and helping young people or anyone for that matter in relationships.
Yeah,
great.
Because everybody is trying to find their spouse, right?
It's the number one thing.
It's such a serious topic. I mean, it's such an important topic because basically your whole life is affected by the person that you marry.
Yes.
So we are really happy that you were able to come because personally we have witnessed how you found each other and we have seen you grow as a couple.
Yes.
We have seen you become parents.
Yes.
And we know that you have a lot to give. So we wanted to for you to share with our viewers how you found each other.
Yeah. So I know every love story is different. So ours really began, I'll never forget the first time I saw my wife. She was coming out of one of the
I don't
church
remember
offices.
that time.
I remember her heels, what color her heels were. And at that time, there was something in me, spiritually speaking, that I just felt like there's something different about this girl. And throughout me serving, attending church, every time I would see her, she would just catch my attention because I just felt like there was just something special about her, something different, and something about me not even knowing her wanted to get to know her, if that made sense. And so it wasn't just physical, there was definitely something spiritual about it. And I think we just started off of acquaintances, serving, being in the same room. Then we had great chemistry, great conversation as friends.
Lots of conversations,
And one day we just took it to prayer. I took it to prayer, and I just felt like this is the woman I want to be with. I need to pursue her.
Yeah. So Pastora Damari, you said that you started to talk and you guys formed a friendship first, right?
We did.
And that's one of the things that we were talking about.
Yes.
That sometimes people are so afraid of rejection. And one of the advices that we were giving is that try to start a friendship and see if you click with that person. Don't be so,
uptight.
And
my goodness, this is my one shot and that's it.
Yeah, right. So I see that worked for you.
Yeah, because I feel like sometimes it could, some people say, oh, I like them physically. I'm like, well, have you spoken to them? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, what if you don't like what comes out of their mouth?
Yeah.
They're like, I never thought of that. I'm like, well, you need to talk to them because you might not click, and they could be the most handsome or the most beautiful girl, and you just might not like what comes out of their mouth, and there is no connection, no chemistry. So definitely a friendship is needed. Talk to the person. No. Don't just think, oh, that's my wife, that's my husband. I've never spoken to them ever a day in my life. You need to form a friendship. You need to know the person, speak to the person, see where their values are at, what they believe in. And I think with my husband, he says he saw me, I actually like someone else because I think my mentality was very religious, which is another mentality that young people tend to have, religious mentality. I actually liked a pastor at that time, so I didn't even know who he was. He says that I would just pass by, probably, I don't know, I was just very focused. And I remember when someone told me about him, my first reaction was, no, I don't know, because he didn't look like this.
You've worked on him a little bit.
I remember him.
Yeah, he didn't look like this. He was more into the gang life, more. So he was a little rugged,
I had just come out of it.
Yeah, he had just come out of it.
Yeah.
He was in process.
Yeah. But I love the fact of what my wife was saying. She was saying how we were touching question on the friendship, and what I love about that is there's so many ways you get to do that.
Yeah.
There's not just one right way to get to know someone. So I feel like some people, they need to do that in a group setting. Some people feel more comfortable doing that one-on-one.
Yeah.
And so there's different ways, right, to develop that friendship, to hear what would come out of somebody's mouth and kind of engage into that friendship or chemistry.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned that, because one of the safe ways to approach someone you might be interested in is in a group setting or in something in common. For example, you said you were serving or something. Some people it might be in a job. Some people might be in something small group, any kind of thing. A group says, hey, let's go to the movies together, or let's do this together. And those group activities kind of give you an opportunity, a safe opportunity to start to know somebody. And then if there's a chemistry, it'll kind of come out and you'll sense it at that time.
Yeah, I love that, because usually labels come off from people when you get to know them.
Yes.
I love what my wife was saying, how I fit the description of someone that came from a certain lifestyle. And it wasn't until we got to know each other that label came off from me. And so it's in chemistry, it's in friendship, it's in when you're in the same room, the same gathering, where you can observe someone and come up with a way better conclusion, right?
Yeah.
And that takes down a lot of those ideas that people have, that the person has to look exactly a certain way at a certain time, and without even knowing the person. And sometimes when you get to know the person, you see the true person, what's inside, rather than what the outside looks like.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's why it's good to be friends and to get to know each other before we even know if this is going to lead somewhere romantic.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I always tell the single people. I had actually a couple the other day, not a couple, a young girl, she's single, and she's like, Pastor, what do I do? I'm like, well, who are you hanging out with? Oh, I'm hanging out with my girlfriends. I'm like, well, that's the problem. You're only hanging out with girlfriends. You need to hang out with a group where there's guys, so that you can get to know, you see what guys there is. Because if not, you in your corner, or vice versa, the guys in their corner only hanging out with their guys, there's never going to be hey, I like this person that serves over here. Let me get to know them a little bit better.
Yeah, it's kind of like that dance off. As she's talking, I get that
in the
that
middle school.
picture. You know what I'm
guys
talking
on one side, girls on the other side.
You just stick to that group, then there's not going to be interaction. There has to be healthy friendships, healthy groups.
And that's why also staying home and being alone with a computer that does not help. You have to put yourself out there, get involved in different things so people can see you and so you can see people.
Because it's a taboo. I think it's a religious taboo where people think, my spouse is going to come like a shining armor. They're just going to knock on my door and say, I am your husband, or I am your wife. Here I am. The Lord sent me. No, the Lord gave you a brain.
Yeah.
Use it. Find someone that is suitable for you.
That's the word.
That matches your
suitable.
Beliefs, and see if you match with them.
Yeah.
If not, go and God will highlight someone else in your life.
A lot of the times, waiting for perfection, then you're never going to find that perfect person, because nobody's perfect.
Correct.
Absolutely, yeah.
So,
When you guys met, you were not pastors.
No.
So there seems to be like also a connection between what you're doing in life and meeting and coming together. So as you came together, you probably were never thinking about being pastors, but what did you see in each other that you thought were lifelong values or things that you could be together?
Yeah. Well, for me, I love the value talk, because I think that biblically speaking, that's one of the only verses we get to hold on to is do not be joined to someone who's unequally yoked. And so the fact that she was at church, and the fact that I could see her model her faith and be active in her faith, that's the number one thing that encouraged me, motivated me to even continue to even further pray or think or pursue if this was someone that I wanted to be with. But I think that one of the greatest qualities is when you get to see that person love God. When you get to see that person love people. love church, serve. I think those are great qualities and great values. And the more you spend time with that person or in a group, or you hear what they talk about, how where do they see themselves in the next couple of years, like that type of conversation, you also get to see if that person even compliments who you are, where you're going, what you want to do in life. And of course there has to be a physical attraction. So yeah, I think that those are some of the things that.
What are other things that you see that the young people are struggling with when it comes in this topic, trying to find their what are the things that they're experiencing or thinking about?
I think false expectations.
That's a big one. False expectations,
of how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and the fact that they don't have to do nothing for it to happen. There has to be action. It's not, like I said, it's not just you sitting there and someone's going to come knocking your door. Like, you have to be social. If you're a girl, you need to dress pretty,
I will say girl and
vice versa. Take care of yourself.
Yes.
Because, people are attracted to what they see. Again, being social. I had there's a guy that he's under us, and I was asking him about a certain girl. He's like, no, but she's not, she's not social, and I don't like that. So be social. Like, let them see you interact with other people. So I think that would be fear is another one. Fear of making a mistake.
There's definitely a need to being authentic. Being vulnerable. Most people are scared to be hurt, so they're not authentic.
Correct.
They're, they tend to hold back, like my wife was saying. I think that another thing is just speaking on false expectations and speaking about what you were talking about earlier, which is we expect people to be perfect. And how the perfect spouse, the perfect partner does not exist. I think we've heard it before that the dream girl, the dream guy is stuck inside of someone.
We want them to be cultivated already.
It takes for us to cultivate a relationship, a friendship, and cultivate each other, right? Iron sharpens iron. And so I think that that's one of the biggest obstacles, setbacks. I when we first got married,
we should have been married years before.
I agree. But when we did get married, I remember it was in the first year of our marriage. We've been married, it's going to be 8 years now. And I'll never forget the moment I realized my wife was not perfect. I don't forget that day. I'm like, oh my God, Damari is not perfect. She doesn't pray 24 hours. She's not worshiping day and night, right? She's not, oh my God, she is not perfect.
I'm a normal.
She has a temper sometimes.
Nobody's perfect.
I remember that day, and I was freaked out. I was freaking out. I was I'm in my 20s. My wife is not perfect, and God forbid she realizes I'm not perfect, because I knew I wasn't perfect. But my mentality was, she's perfect, and her perfection is gonna cover and make up for my imperfection. And so that was a false burden I was placing on her. And I then realized that it's okay she's not perfect. It's okay. It's actually a good thing. Why? Because I get to be a Jesus to her. And I refuse to allow my pastor, I refuse to allow my friends, her family, to be more of a Jesus to her than me. I'm not gonna, the Bible calls the devil the accuser of the brethren, right? I'm not gonna tag team with the devil and accuse my wife. I want to tag team with Jesus and come into a place where it is an honor and a privilege that you're not perfect, because then I get to model and be a Jesus to you. And so I remember,
or speak life,
speak life, be iron,
and grow together and develop together, which is what we have seen in our lives. We're going to be 37 years married.
That's good.
And we were talking about it, that when we get married, we were far from perfect. And today, we're still far from perfect. But in that
You're
walk,
more perfect now than you were.
Yes,
absolutely.
But in that walk,
more compatible as well, and
we have
grown with each other. other.
Yes.
Yeah, we have developed in our character. We have developed in our relationship with God. We have matured, and we have done it together.
Yeah.
In despite of our imperfections and despite of our different of temperament and things like that. So that is one of the lies and the things that are maybe holding people back, having that erroneous expectation of having somebody perfect.
Being perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Would you say that people are attracted that are exactly the same, or do they complement each other?
Yeah, we've seen both.
Both, yeah.
I think when you're intentional relationship, when you're intentional in your friendship, there's always going to be you're always going to find that where you become compatible, where you can find something you agree on.
Yeah.
Common
grounds, like those false expectations that we've been talking about. So many young people are like, well, my husband's going to be a chef. Well, how about if he's not a chef?
Correct. Or vice
Or
versa.
my wife is going to do this, and I want. And since I was a little kid, I've always wanted my wife to, we need to get off those things because those things aren't fundamental to build solid ground, solid marriage, solid relationship.
That's good. The fundamental.
Yeah.
It's fundamentals. Now if she wants to learn how to cook, or if he decides to want to do that, then fine. But if not, we got to put these little things to the side and really focus on what really matters, which is relationship.
Correct. Yeah.
Can you love me? Can I love you?
Yeah.
Can we be there for each other?
Correct.
Grow together.
Can we grow together? Can I serve you? Can you serve me?
Yeah.
Whether, no matter the differences, or where we find, that we're compatible.
Which I think there's paradigms, like there's worldly paradigms, or paradigms that you've heard in the world, like opposites attract, or then you have people that are only looking for someone that's completely opposite to them, which can be good, but sometimes it cannot be good. Or then you have paradigms in the church. There's just this one person. Well, what if that one person doesn't want to do the will of God? Or what if that one person dies? So you're never going to get married? So all these
That's a big paradigm.
false paradigms.
There's only one person for
Correct.
you.
Wait, no.
Absolutely.
No, you have to, again, use your brain. Like I was telling teacher Letty, to Jesus, what is more important, salvation or marriage? It's salvation, and you still get a choice. You get to choose whether you want to follow Christ. Well, you get to choose who is suitable for you.
Yeah, we believe Jesus is a matchmaker.
Correct.
You got to decide.
Correct.
Because if, let's just say you want to get married at 21, well, the person you're going to look for is not when you're 28. The person is there at that time.
Yeah.
So wherever you find yourself in life, you got to trust that God is going to help you choose that person.
That's a good one there because, and I'm sure that you have come across this, people and maybe young adults that are waiting to get to a certain stage in life.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's financially or educationally or I don't know what, physically.
No, I'm not ready.
I'm not never going to be
trying
ready.
to get more perfect.
Yeah, to get more perfect. And sometimes people pass them by.
Yeah.
And they're still,
That's
waiting
another problem.
to get perfect or to get to a certain level. And maybe that will be a mistake because you have to give room to grow together.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's what I think. What do you think about that?
I think that if we depended on, in this case, for example, finances, then we're living by our finances, not by faith.
Yeah.
It's by faith, right? Like the just, the righteous live by faith. Well, how do you get married? By faith.
Correct.
You can't wait for you to feel like you're perfect.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
you're never going to have enough money. You're never going to be pretty enough.
Or you can always be smarter. You can always be more educated. I could always go get more degrees, or I could always go and be better myself.
And I think what young people need to understand is that there's a beauty in being able to do that with someone
Amen.
rather than do it alone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
true.
why don't we
help
make
each other.
more money together?
Right.
And
we help each other.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think because we're in ministry, I think that one of the other obstacles, right, that I see a type of generation that has to hurdle over is, well, I need to marry like this apostle or this preacher.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like we we need to be careful because, if there's a guy that, is constantly winning souls or prophesying, that's good, but that doesn't prove him.
Right.
That proves God.
Yep.
You got to look for the Holy Spirit. You got to look for the fruit of the Spirit.
Yeah.
Don't look for a preacher. Look for a wife. Look for a husband.
Yes.
Look for
That's
someone
good
that walks in
advice.
peace and joy and love.
Yes, the fruit of the Spirit.
Yeah. Look for the character.
The
Look
character
for
of Christ.
Yeah.
Not just the call,
Absolutely.
because people they tend to look for the call. They want the call, the Ephesians.
Yeah, because I'm supposed
gifting.
to marry a pastor. So I'm just going to look at a pastor.
Yes.
And if it would have happened like that, he wasn't a pastor yet. If he would have been
Right.
focused on
Oh.
it has to be a pastor.
I
If
would
he wasn't
have
a pastor yet, you would still be waiting.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad that you guys found each other.
Yes, so am I.
Yeah.
Which, by
Yes,
the way,
too.
Teacher John, I don't know if I ever told you, but Teacher John did prophesy to me the week before. I don't know that you came to me. He was like,
Yes.
"I feel from God that this is your time. This is ready." And I was like, "Yes, I'm gonna take that
Wow.
word."
Yeah.
And you gave.
That's amazing.
I think I said in certain amount of
Yes.
time, I gave her a time. I
Yeah,
told
you
her
did.
this much time,
And it was crazy.
and you came.
Yeah.
So believe the prophecy.
Yes.
Believe the prophecy and you will prosper.
Yes, yes.
Which there's obviously nothing wrong with wanting maybe a pastor, but it's there's a higher truth.
Yes.
You need a husband, you need a wife more than
Yeah.
Yeah. So what other piece of advice would you have? Would you have a piece of advice for a young woman that is concerned with this type of topic or issue?
Get out there. Get out there. Get out there.
very good
Obviously,
advice.
I always tell the young people, if you're still in high school, finish high school. But you already finished high school, you know where you're going in college, get out there, get to know people, don't be closed off. Take off all those paradigms that Disney gave you, the world gave you, and even the church has given you. And really trust the Holy Spirit inside of you. I believe that God has made us smart enough to make good decisions. And just look for those values.
Yeah, and sometimes maybe you meet someone, it's not gonna work out. Don't take it as a personal failure.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Maybe that was not the person that compliments you. Keep moving.
Yes.
Keep meeting other people.
Absolutely.
Keep
Love
becoming friends and stuff like that,
Yes.
because sometimes people don't know how to deal with rejection, and rejection doesn't mean that something is wrong with
Correct.
you. It just means that you're not the suitable person for that particular person.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
love that.
you're doing yourself a favor.
Yeah.
God's doing you a favor.
So at least you got out there.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And if you fail moving forward.
And at least you
That's it.
learn how to make connections and things like that.
Or you
Absolutely
learn
love
what
that.
to look for. Hey, you know what? I was looking more physically, but now that I saw, physical is important, but now that I heard him talk or heard her talk, you know what? I'm actually going to look for more of this, look deeper. So it's a mirror.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being with us for this time. I think I've heard
it.
several things, a lot of wisdom on many different areas where people could do, strategies on how to find someone. So thank you for being with us and being part of this.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is going to bless a lot of people that are, they want to hear from someone. And that when you talked about perfection and growing together and everything, it's going to break some of those paradigms that we're
Yes.
talking about. So we thank you.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can do this again soon.
Yes,
Let's
please.
do it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.